Hello. In this video I will be responding to some of the claims made by Dutch politician Thierry Baudet on climate change. Now the reason I am responding to this is a combination of several different factors. Firstly, the party of which Baudet is part has recently won a large amount of seats in the Dutch Senate, and he's also projected to increase in size in the House of the Representatives. Thus a response at this moment seemed pretty reasonable. Secondly, the climate change debate is a very interesting subject to me, and I have become more and more interested in it after seeing some videos by a YouTuber who goes by the name Potholer54. And I'll be honest, if you can only watch one video, I'd recommend choosing any of his videos over mine. They're amazing. Now, to start, I've taken a tweet made by Thierry Baudet and a tweet that he has retweeted, and I will be dissecting them and analyzing the points one by one. The first tweet was made as a response to many people calling Baudet a climate change denier. Now, let's have a look at this response. I do not deny climate change. I know that during the Middle Ages the temperature was much higher than now, that around 1600 we experienced a small ice age, and that since 1850 the planet is steadily warming up a bit. But is this caused by humans? Now, there are 4 claims made in the tweet, and I will be dissecting them one by one. The 4 points made were: there was an increased temperature in the Middle Ages, higher than current; there was a small ice age during the 1600s; the planet is warming steadily a bit since 1850, and is climate change anthropogenic or is it human caused? Let's start with point 1. On point 1, Baudet is only half right. There was indeed an increased temperature in the Middle Ages, known as the medieval warm period, but that the claim that the temperature was higher than current temperatures is wrong. The medieval warm period has been supported by several different studies, one of which is by Grove and Switsur, who found evidence that suggests that the medieval warm period was a global occurrence. To the point that the temperatures are higher than today is completely inaccurate. This can be seen in the following graph, which is made in combination with Wikipedia's global climate change art project. And the graph shows the temperature deviation or temperature anomaly over a period of 2000 years. So you can see the medieval warm period where it is indeed increased temperature compared to the period before. And you can also clearly see that the temperature on the right of the graph, where human activity has increased in terms of CO2 production, that there is a very high and fast spike of temperature anomaly. Now note that this is temperature anomaly and not definitive temperatures or absolute temperatures. In this graph, the second point made by Baudet can also be seen, the Little Ice Age around 1600s. So on the second point, Baudet was indeed correct, that there was a Little Ice Age after the medieval warm period. However, what does this prove? Why does he bring it up? That's more interesting. So I would like to pose the question, why? Why was there a Little Ice Age? And there are various different solutions or propositions to this, among which, and I quote from Wikipedia here, cyclical lows in solar radiation, heightened volcanic activity, changes in oceanic circulation, variation in Earth's orbit and axial tilt, orbital forcing, inherent variability in global climate, and decreases in human population. Now let's keep that last explanation in mind when we're going into the other arguments made by Baudet. Now the third argument I found most egregious. I purposely highlighted 2 words in this statement, the first of which is steadily. This asserts that the rise in temperature that we see in recent years is slow over time, and that we do not see a sharp change in temperature. However, when we look at global temperature graphs, we can see this is clearly not correct. Now, I first showed this graph of the temperature anomaly, and then over time. This is by several different sources, so it's NASA, the Hadley Center, the National Center for Environmental Information, and the Japanese Meteorological Agency. And you can see that there's clearly a trend from around 1970, 1960 up to now. And you might say, well, it looks pretty steadily to me. And you say, well, okay, so maybe Baudet's right. But when we look at the temperature range for a farther time period, and this graph is produced by Marcott et al., and this is a reconstruction of regional and global temperatures of the past. Note that the blue shaded area is the range of uncertainty, and you can see that there's just a clear spike in temperature, and it's a very fast one, where the top might be lower than the highest we've seen, but it's still so fast, and that's what's so egregious. It's the speed of change which is alarmist. So the word he uses, steadily, is just not correct. Now the second part of his claim is one that I hear a lot of people say, and Baudet does this more often in other situations, where he will claim something like, it's only a difference of 0 point whatever degrees. So he'll try to play down the effect of the actual change of degrees. But that does not take into effect how much effect that has. A small temperature change might not be that effectful over 7,000 years, as you can see in the graph. But if that's done in 10 years, that's really alarming. That's really fast. The climate cannot change that fast, and the environment can't handle that. Now his final point is the most complex one, and it's the one I'd like to spend some more time really examining and figuring out what's happening. So I'll be splitting the video up into 2 parts. This is where the first part ends, and in the second part we'll be taking at another tweet retweeted by Baudet and examining his final point and really deconstructing what it means. So thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the second part.